Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Not the Lady Still podcast. We're going to go with Welcome to the Woman's Cave because, after you have 4 podcasts, you get confused as to where each person goes. Someone told me what I have to do is write an entire schedule out and then put where each person is on a spreadsheet. And I looked at them and I said, have you met me? That'll work for like a week. And I'll be like, that was a lot of work. Nope, I'm going to show up. And then that person's going to start talking and be like, I know where they're going now. Wow. I was trying to hope that was banter, and it turned out just to be like me telling an unprofessional tale. So let's get away from the unprofessional tale and move on to something that I professionally do and get paid to do, writing. Hey, go figure. By the way, I'm Winona. And there's normally a Jade. And we together have written 17 books. Yeah, I'm going to go with that intro. We've written 17 books, but I'm going to tell you about 6 that are available for an audiobook. And I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir in verse, Widow's Web, Widow's Debt, and Foreign Coffee, wherever your audiobooks are found. Now, if you notice that was 6, you need 11 more. You can go to www.antithoughladies.com, and you can find out like you've already gone. Yeah, let me assume that you've already gone. And in which case, my numbers went up, and I've already sold books. Nice. You can find out everything you want to know about your ladies there, all 11 books included. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Charles Kierenan. I am a writer and a storyteller. And there is a difference. These are 2 different hats. A writer, I think everyone knows that needs no explanation. A storyteller does, because I'll bet half of your audience thinks, oh, he sits in a library and reads a book to kids. No, that's story time. Storytelling is standing up in front of an audience and telling, not reading a story. American storytelling, it can be personal stories, it can be traditional stories, healing stories. There's quite a range that we deal with. We perform often in libraries, but there are also storytelling festivals. There's 2 huge storytelling festivals. One is in Jonesboro, Tennessee, which is the National Storytelling Festival, and Timbagos in Utah. Way out in Utah is this huge storytelling festival that goes on every year. And a lot of small festivals too. And theater events. We also perform in theaters. It's comes out of the storytelling that was done on back porches. Storytelling that put children to bed. But I also like to say there's adult storytelling, which doesn't mean it's seamy. It just means it's a very sophisticated story that's being told. My other hat is as a writer. And in that capacity, I am also the chairperson for the Write Stuff Writers Conference, which is coming up in March 23rd, 24th, 25th. And it's been virtual since 2021. Our 2020 conference was in March. And if you recall, a day before we started the conference, we had to cancel it. And we had people showing up, we had people flying in. It was terrible, but we had to do it. The next year, 21 and 22, it was totally virtual, just as we're doing here. Our next conference is, again, finally live and virtual. We're doing both. This is kind of a societal shift, I think. Things that just always just be meeting in person are now online. One of the things with my writers group, which is the Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group is the name of it. And we've always had a gathering where people could read, we call it the Writer's Cafe, where people can read the first 500 pages, first 500 words of whatever they're working on right now. And then we'd sit around and critique it and talk about it. Well, that was always done once a month live. Now it's done every week virtually, and we have an international audience. So it's something we just couldn't resist. For our conference, what we've done is, it's not live streaming, but we are Zoom recording all the sessions. And people can decide to come live and participate in all the things that a live event, being able to talk to other people, yeah, over a meal, that sort of thing. That's going on, but we are taping everything. And the people who have come to the conference on Saturday in particular, we have 2 rooms running. You can't be in 2 rooms at once. So all the people who come have access to the tapes as well. So they get to see the sessions they weren't physically able to be in. Plus, people can just buy the virtual, which is a third of the price of the usual conference. So that's kind of where I'm coming from right now, where I'm always doing storytelling, and I'm always writing and participating with my writers group.
I find it interesting that you are carrying on a very rich tradition of storytelling. Because I mean, the only reason we have Homer, the Odyssey, is because of oral storytelling that just made people want to keep coming back and put money in that hat. Oh, it probably wasn't a hat back then. I don't know what it was back then. But, they wanted to give their storytellers some money. Because, I mean, written into the actual stories are, don't forget to tip the bard, your storyteller.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it's amazing that you're keeping this tradition going. Do you yourself compete in either the Utah or the Tennessee storyteller competition?
No, I haven't. They haven't asked me. If they asked me, I certainly would. No, actually, I did do a little performing at the Tennessee one because they have kind of an open mic where anyone can come and tell. So I did that, of course. But being on one of the main stages, they have like 4 tents running. And there might be 1,000 people in each tent. So this is a big deal. This is in the town of Jonesboro, Tennessee, which has, I don't know, a population of 1,000 people maybe, and 400 people descend on them every year. Yeah, it's a wonderful event. But I haven't told it that. I've told it other festivals, smaller festivals. That's always a joy to do.
You also mentioned that you are in charge of a conference. I know everyone is going to want to know, that's listening to this, well, how to get a ticket first of all. But I know that I'm going to want to know if you need any speakers and how do we apply if you do.
Well, you apply to me. Yes, well, we certainly have speakers at the conference. That's what it's all about. We run Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday, March 23rd, 24th, 25th. The Thursday and Friday are half-day workshops. And then Saturday, we have 2 rooms running with 1-hour sessions. I think we have 8 sessions. It'd be 16 hours worth of information. One of the interesting things we'll be doing, one of the Thursday sessions is Audiobook 101, how to create an audiobook. We have not covered that in any of our conferences before. And that's, as you know, a big item. So we'll be letting people know how to create audiobooks. The way to get there is Google, probably the best way is just simply Google Write Stuff Writers Conference. and will come up. The actual handle has something to do with an apricot, wild apricot in it. It's kind of a crazy. But yeah, either Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group or Write Stuff Writers Conference. We'll get people to our site. Tickets go on sale December 4th. And that's our Cyber Week, where you can get the early bird discounts.
Okay. So you mentioned a critique group.
Oh,
that's happening every week. Where can we find out more information about this critique group? And they're not mean, are they?
Oh, no. Well, they're a thing. There's, the Writers Cafe. Yeah, that one is a pretty big one. Again, going to Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group, Googling that. On our site, there are links to information about the Writers Cafe. And it's all Zoom. And what's great about that is, depending on how many people show up, we can put them in different rooms. So, it's if you get more than 10, 12 people, it gets kind of out of control. Well, you just divide the 30 people who showed up into 3 rooms and off you go. And you have your own little grouping and enough volume to be valuable, but not be overwhelmed, and and have a chance to work with other people and get their opinions.
Exactly. I love that, especially we're big on having boutique events. So events that are small enough to facilitate getting to know people and actually getting work done, but large enough that you get the work done.
Yeah.
It's a lovely little balance to get. And somehow
we were really a bit surprised when we weren't virtual with the Writers Cafe, and it's like, whoa, this is working.
So are there any new challenges with going hybrid this year? A little bit of in-person, a little bit of online?
I guess the biggest challenge is if we had tried to live stream, because then you just need much more personnel to actually physically run a live stream and have a live audience at the same time. We decided not to go that way. We decided to simply tape everything, which is easy to do with Zoom, and give ourselves a week to edit it a little bit, get all the dead spots out, and then put it up. So it is not that difficult to do it that way. And of course, we have been Zooming our monthly meetings for a while, so we've gotten, a little bit of experience under our belts of how to actually run a Zoom session. It was a learning curve for a lot of people, But now people are Zooming at the drop of a hat. And I think that's great. That was the one benefit of the pandemic was the greater use and usefulness of Zoom-like software sessions.
Exactly. We were very, very fortunate in the fact that we have been using Zoom 3 years before the pandemic. We started in 2016 and have been doing hybrid events ever since. In fact, 2020 was the first fully in-person event we have done ever. And of course it got canceled. So and we were about 3 days out. So we just dropped a Zoom link in and said, hey, everybody show up.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like, how do I do this? And I was like, oh, please, you just do that. You're good.
We lost our 2020 conference altogether, because we didn't have the background. Now we would do that. And
we were really, really fortunate because our big event was about 72 hours before the shutdown. And 72 hours after the shutdown would have been. And when it came into effect, we were just like, well, all right, everybody, here's a Zoom link. We'll see you there. Just click on it. We'll put you in order. Call it. Yeah. We're done. It was like 3 emails for us.
You had an audience that already knew that.
Yeah, and like I'm so excited now, but now people know so much more than we do. It's just so insane. I'm just like, Zoom does that?
One of our
Zoom does that? Now it does that? Oh my word.
One of our virtual conferences, one of our participants said that she really enjoyed the venue, even though she ought to vacuum it.
Well, I know you all must be extremely excited to be back.
Yeah, we really are, because that's the networking that can happen when you have 20 people in a room and eating and drinking and just wandering about.
Exactly.
I didn't mention my third hat, which is as a Mark Twain imitator.
I was about to get there.
Yeah.
Now, how many do you often do storytelling as a Mark Twain imitator? Or
I consider my Mark Twain show as part of storytelling. There are actually a number of storytellers who also do historic characters. That's not unusual.
Yes, I think I've run into like a few of them. They're quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. Yeah, I put on the white suit and wave the cigar around, and people are convinced I'm Twain.
I can definitely see this. Now, what are some of the benefits of being in a writing group or writers association and then coming to a writers conference?
I guess the word I used before, networking. The benefit of these critique groups is the feedback you get from the people listening to the story, or sometimes they also have written copies. That depends how you set it up. There's another critique group that I participate. It's myself, two other gentlemen. We have been meeting together each month for maybe 6-7 years. And we know each other's work. And we know what we're trying to do and where we ought to go, and can pick up the blind spots very quickly. What often happens is someone will read a piece, and they love it, of course. It's their writing, it's their baby. And then they hear other people say, I like the dialogue, but I don't see the setting. I don't know where these people are. And the writer goes, oh my God, it was in my head, but I never put it down on the paper. It's insights like that you get from a critique group, which is very informative and very helpful. I've read works by authors, and I sometimes think they didn't critique this. That person's group would have been all over them, and they would have been able to correct something that I see as a short sightedness on the part of some authors that a chance to read. So yeah, critique groups are just terribly important. And in the conferences, very often you'll meet agents and editors, people who are in the business, and you get to talk to them. And that's another whole set of insightfulness. We love to have editors, agents come and talk at our conferences, not just other writers. It's not all just craft, it's also the whole realm of marketing, which if you're a self-published author, that's critical.
It is.
So there's so much. It's not just the art of writing. It's just the business of writing, that you get all sorts of information from a conference and different points of view. Sometimes you're just checking up to see, am I up to date on what I think is happening in this industry? Because what was true 2 years ago is just not true now.
Oh, I definitely understand. Definitely understand. Things move at the speed of light. Algorithms change, policies change. Oh my goodness. It's such a learning curve. And it's funny because it's a learning curve just to start out writing. And especially if you decide to self-publish, oh my word, the things you have to learn, it's insane. And then they just change one night.
Yeah. I have a self-published book, and then I have another book I'm marketing to agents right now. I'm dabbling in both worlds and seeing what happens. And that's somewhat good, because if you self-publish, that means you need to have the book edited, You need to have it formatted. You need a cover. It makes you appreciate what mainstream publishers are doing and doing for you. You understand what that process is about. A lot of it is, do you want to have things in your own hands, your own control, which Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, does very well. You do control your product, and they're very flexible. And there is, and it's affordable too, for that matter.
Very
you are in charge of everything. And how many hats can a person wear effectively? You got to farm some of this out at points, very rationally. But for example, covers. Covers are terribly important in books. And if you're not a graphic designer, you got to get someone to design the cover for you, or you can go to the sites where they have already pre-designed covers, and thousands of them, for, maybe a quarter of the price you would have paid to hire someone to make it your own. And this is the stuff you have to learn. These are the business tips you get from going to conferences and talking to other people. I can't imagine writing in a vacuum. It's not there. I don't see it.
Well, you have been an absolute delight to have on the show. Can you tell people about where to find out more information about you and possibly social media, and to where to pick up your book?
Okay, well, my book, this one is on Amazon. It's A Vacant Throne, Dreams of the Sleeping Cat. If you like cats and fantasy, this is a book for you. It's out there on Amazon. I also write a fairy tale blog, which is, what is it? It's Chaz, C-H-A-Z, tales.com. And it's called Fairy Tale of the Month. Every month I cover a fairy tale in the context of an ongoing story. I have characters, my own characters in the story, who are arguing over fairy tales in many cases. So it's a lot of fun for me to write.
It sounds like it's a blast to read and very original.
I hope so, because my characters, they get a little bit off the topic sometimes, and I sometimes have them in restaurants, but the real restaurants in England. I Google the restaurant, I look at the pictures of the restaurant, I look at their menu, and then I put my characters in that restaurant somewhere over across the ocean.
Well, I tell you, next time you have to go to the restaurant.
My daughter actually was in England and went to some of the restaurants I had visited. So that was a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for us over here. I'm Ramona, and I'm one of the Anti-Thought Ladies. And you can find out everything your ladies are up to at www.antithoughtLadies.com. While you're there, go down to the middle of the page, not the bottom anymore, but the middle of the page. And you can see the charities that we proudly support. We ask that you take a little time out, support them as well. This doesn't have to be money. It can also be skills that they need or information that they need, because our annual advocacy roundtable, you find out what different charities around the world, what they need right now. And a lot of times it's not just the money, so we thank you in advance for that. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade.